So now we're getting into the actual responsa. So this is a question that was brought to the attention of Rav Asher Weiss. And it's Histaknus Kedei Lahatzil Chavero Simin Kuf Chaf Beis in the Minchas Asher. The question was that there was terrorists and they ran into the Beis Knesset and they were murdering people. And one of the in between the people that were being killed, there was one rabbi who was throwing chairs and benches until he was killed. And it's clearly he was saving people, but he did it at the risk of his life, meaning he could have ran away. Instead, he stood there and he was delaying these terrorists so that they wouldn't kill more people and that help could arrive. Did he do the right thing? That he put himself in sakana, albeit to save other people. And this is before COVID. Are you allowed, as a doctor, obligated to put himself in risk to take care of take care of patients with Ebola, because there's definitely a risk. So let's go over the tshuva. Kasher kishiyesh sakana gemura v'sakana samatil miskareves l'ramas hasikun shel hanitul ledas rova poskim asur l'listake. When it's clear that there's a risk that the rescuer, you really shouldn't. In general, this is just in general. You shouldn't risk your own life for another person's life if you know you're going to die for it. If there is a sakana, but maybe there's not such a big, then it's midas chasidus. But when the sakana is small, then there's definitely a chiyuv l'histakin to risk something in order to help your friend. And that's what he learned from the Tshuvat HaRadbaz that we went over, Chelik Gimel and Chelik Hey. So remember the Radbaz, as we learned it, he wasn't so enthusiastic about risking your own life for another person, because who said that your dam is so make less than the dam of somebody else? But ad kan lo nechleku el mish mistaken al minas lahatzil chavera. Avozo pshita li shemuter lo adam lihistaken al minas lahatzil es harabim mesakana. When it comes from one to one, that's one thing. But when it comes from one person for many people, that's different. So Minchas Asher makes a distinction between saving one person, saving many people. Even though you're not allowed, you are not allowed to pick one to save many. A person who wants to, that's a mitzvah gedolah. And then he goes over that Gemara, which we talked about, that Gemara that we talked about in terms of the group of people, and there's a mob outside, and they say choose one person, and we'll save everybody else. So there's a machlokes, Reish Lakish and Rav Yochanan. That Rabbi Yochanan says if they pick out a person, you could send that person over. Reish Lakish says only if that guy is chayav misa, like Sheva ben Bichri. Why is it that you're allowed to give over one person to save many people? So the Chazon Ish says Be'er shitas reish lakish. Kevan shenischayev misa lenachrin. Umistater b'karavecha miyisrael. Hari hukarodev. He's considered a rodev, and you're allowed to kill him. But he doesn't find that the Asher Weiss does not like this. And he says, Lanias Daiti pairs a rachuk b'dachuk mode. What is that thing about the rodev here? So he basically says that that since nefesh hayachid should nidchis mishum atzalas rabim, then you're allowed to hand them over because it's a yachid and rabim situation. You're allowed to hand over. It's a mitzvah once they choose. Yeah, you're not allowed to just randomly pick somebody, but once somebody is isolated out, then you're allowed, that person now is in a realm of being able to save many people, and it's therefore a mitzvah for that person. And he doesn't say it's midin rodev that you pass him over, but it's midin mitzvah that this person could now save many people. And that's the way Rav Asher Weiss says it. It's pretty interesting that he goes on and he says, Nira de'im hayachid bocher mirtzona v'imsaras nafshel atzal Hashem v'adai mitzvah. And he explains that's probably what happened with Papos and Lulyanos that we saw above, that they donated their lives to save the city, Jews, from destruction after the king's daughter was found dead. Right? And then he goes on, he says they weren't even in the place, but the question is, they weren't even within the realm of sakana, but they did it anyway. So he says, so basically he's saying that the rabbi here did a great job. He saved many people. And then he goes on, anybody who works with hatzalas nefashos, they're allowed to and occasionally to save even a yachid. Pshitalan shemuter listaken b'mechama. כך גם פשיטלן שחברה מתוקנת תרחת כל תרחתי לרפס חולים ולהציל את אלה שסכנה רובצת עליהם. And basically, also doctors are allowed to risk themselves to l'rape cholim, rafa cholim b'machlat matbeket, like measles or catchy. So, even though we have this rule that we said before, that is asur lo listaken, seems at the end of the tshuva, he's saying that you're allowed to do it if your profession is a doctor. That's the way I understood this tshuva, but I think the chiddush of the tshuva is that there is a distinction made between one person trying to save one person versus one person trying to save many. Yeah, I would like to point out that this is not mashma from what we saw before in the Or Sameach and the Meshech Chachma, the way we understood the person who is in Galus, and he's not allowed to come out of the Galus even to save Yisrael. You should have the same reasoning, Yachid and Rabin. Why isn't he allowed to come out, or he's allowed to come out, but it's not clear if he's saved or protected from the Goel Hadam. So that I think would be a good question to ask Rav Asher Weiss on that. And then we'll do the last page next.